Are we living in the Matrix? Is the universe just one big simulation? What if everything we thought we knew was nothing more than virtual reality? Ponder the answers to these questions and more with my next guests. Eugene.
Hi.
And the Cavernous.
Hi.
Hey guys. So thanks for joining me today. I'll just get right to it. So we've got Eugene, we've got the guys from the Cavernous. Could you each, starting with Eugene, introduce yourselves really quickly?
I'm Eugene. I take photographs. I make moving images. I bend pixels. I like colors. Cool. Hi, me.
I'm Rob.
I'm Jesse.
And we're in a band called the Cavernous.
Awesome. So Eugene, where are you from, and who are you as an artist?
So I'm from like the absolute northwest edge of Greater London. If it was 5 minutes out, it wouldn't count as London at all. But like, essentially, on the baseline there, I just like color theory a lot. So I walk around at night and take photographs, turn London into Blade Runner. I also like graphic design a lot, and I have a video synthesizer called a Dream Weapon that I used to make glitch art. Just like, they could just store a screen and film it while I'm doing it. To do like VFX and music videos and motion graphics and stuff like that. So yeah.
Oh, cool.
Awesome. You know, I realized I totally forgot to play the video that I said I would play. So before we keep going, why don't I show everyone some examples of your work right now?
Okay, go ahead.
All right, I'm going to add this to the stream.
Interesting.
I'm not sure if we saw any of that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, look, the video started. And I like the ceremony of it.
We got a glitch in the Matrix already.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love it.
You know what? That's what happens sometimes.
It's fine. But it's fine to worry about.
I kind of thought it was cool.
Yeah, it was cool. It was a little bit, I don't know, I think it's probably the stream, maybe. It was a little start and stop on this end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we just got to like the second actual piece of work, but yeah, it's fine. It's a glitch. It's cool. Don't worry about it.
You know, it's tough when there's so many things going on at once.
Yeah.
I don't know. We got the three of this.
We've had our own trouble with streaming gigs, that's for sure.
Tough medium.
Yeah, it definitely, it rarely goes completely smoothly. So I just count ourselves lucky that, you know, when no one totally cuts out, because that's happened to me too.
Yep. We've been there. Yeah. Hey, who did that track, Eugene?
This is Battle Tapes, a band from California that like we've been admiring each other's work for years. So we haven't worked together yet. I wish we could. But I just asked them like, hey, for the sake of a reel, would it be okay if I use this? And they've like in exchange for if you take photographs of us if we ever meet. So it's like, yeah, like I've got the hookup for that. But yeah, Battle
That's
Tapes.
cool.
Nice.
Yeah. What is it again? I want to write it down.
It's called Made.
Battle tapes?
Yep, by Battle Tapes.
Battle Tapes.
Nice. I love you getting music recommendations already.
Yeah, that's tight. That's cool.
Well, I found them because they were in GTA 5. Just all of a sudden, like I had the game for like 6 months or so, and it was one of the radio stations I never listened to, and it's like, oh shit, what the fuck is this? Okay, cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Like a electronic radio station in the game?
it was kind of like the station was like indie pop, kind of like synth pop stuff, kind of on the indie side, but then synths crashing in. They have like snares that sound like closer. Like it's like, okay, this is brilliant. Okay, cool. Yeah, it was where the fuck has this been all my life type.
Yeah,
It was like, okay, cool. So yeah, I'm lucky enough to just like be cool with them.
That was my life.
Awesome. Well, I wish we could have seen some of your actual art instead of just
The slideshow.
a glitchy screen. But I promise his work is really cool. One thing I want to ask you before I move on to my next questions are, on your profile, you refer to yourself as like, what was it? London's original Nightcrawler. I thought that was a really cool title.
London's award-winning Nightcrawler, because basically, I think it was like 2019. I was brought on to work on the title sequence for this show called We Hunt Together. It's kind of this detective show that's like set in London, and there's like, as far as the cinematography, they like neon colors and stuff. I was brought on by, if I'm correct, so there's a distributor, and then the in-house creator for them brought me in to shoot a bunch of images for the title sequence on the motion graphics and swipe between them and stuff, showing different time scenes. I like graded for like neon and stuff, and then that title sequence, like, because the show was released like when we were like the first lockdown. That one for some awards I submitted it for, like the Drum Awards, and it won for like photography and title sequence or motion graphics. So I was like, oh shit, I guess cool. This is a title I have now. Yeah, we'll grind at night. And occasionally it's like, what awards? They don't really matter as far as awards go, but like it's a good thing to say for a CV. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's definitely cool. I don't have a title like that. I was wondering whether it was related to the actual movie Nightcrawler, but I guess that's sort of like the same sort of, going out late at night and capturing these rare images of like city streets.
I mean, as far as people who, so like there's loads of us who like turn like cities into like Blade Runner again, basically, but we totally just stole that term from like actual Nightcrawlers who are like documenting crime scenes, like Ouija, or like guys who are like police scanners in their cars and then develop the actual. That's like where that term came from. So like we just like cyberpunk movies, man, like Hero and stuff. Like it's not really the same level of investment.
Well, I think it fits though. It sounds like you must get into some cool stuff out there. And
it's a good conversation starter as far as like why people see it. Like, what the fuck does that even mean? Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, it's good. It gets the ball rolling, I guess.
So you go out there and you take your own photos, and then you glitch them, basically.
Yeah. So like that was it's not in Reading. I think it was because I saw the work of Liam Wong. He used to be the art director of Ubisoft Montreal. He's worked on like doing graphic design for like a bunch of the Far Cry games. I think he worked on Crisis. Then he went to Tokyo on like a press junket, doing press for a game. Just had his camera, and he like Sid Mead's work a lot. He was the production designer on Blade Runner, and he just went and shot Tokyo at night, just like graded it all to like video games and stuff. And we all just saw that and thought, okay, that's cool. Let's see if we can get jobs from it. And lucky enough, that worked. I guess. But no, it's great. It's genuinely like, let's go out. I don't have to speak to anyone. I can, and then I just have all these raw files to play with at home. So that's just like, oh yeah, it's perfect. All those intersections, man. So yeah,
that's awesome. How'd you get into this in the first place? Like just doing glitch art, going out and taking photos. Where did you get your start as an artist?
Photoshop tutorials. As far as like doing the studio class, I thought, oh, this is great. But then I was already into Photoshop. But then I was doing this media B-Tech, which is kind of qualification you can have in schools, right? But we were doing, what was it? We had a lesson or an assignment where you had to make a poster and create stills for a fictional movie, and then like make a poster for it. Then I found out what raw files were. I was like, wait, so there's a file format that makes it so I have more control over the image. That's just the coolest. And then I was already a scout for years, but that's when I started walking for like fun and shit. That's when I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'm just gonna go and shoot everything. I just have my phone, I can capture raw files. Started with flowers, and then just like started going to like skyscrapers and shit to actually do it. It was great. So yeah, but glitch art was. You familiar with Polygon 1993 and Peter Clark?
I think so.
Yeah, glitch art was already something I was into as far as, once again, Photoshop tutorials. But buying like a video synthesizer, that was because I saw the work of people who were doing analog glitch art like Tachyons Plus and doing stuff remotely, and this style that you can only do it if you have the synth itself. It's like just easier to do them for After Effects plugins. You basically have a series of knobs and switches and buttons. You know what? Fuck, I'm gonna show it. Just give me a sec.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
It basically modulates your video signal. It modulates your video signal, or
yeah. So basically, it's like these knobs and switches, all this stuff. You press this color button here at the front to kind of get. It's basically a modified analog video color corrector from the 80s, and completely obsolete. And this company called Tachyons Plus is this thing called circuit bending to like completely fuck up the circuitry and add these knobs. You flick a bunch of them, and then that tears up your video signal. And then you got to get a DSLR to film your television while you're playing it live.
that's amazing.
It's the coolest shit. Like, seriously.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
So
I have
does that mean it's true analog then?
yeah, it's like perfect. Yes, absolutely. Like the signal
Yeah,
comes out,
yeah.
everything. It's
Wow.
like dead on. Like
That's so cool. I've got a friend in Vancouver messing around with. I think it's something very similar, if not the same thing, and it's pretty crazy.
it's fucking fun as hell. Like it's genuinely like it's because then you get to like shooting screens, and that's why I got like a macro lens today, so I got like pixel structures and stuff, like typography and all this stuff, and you can do it on a remote because I was studying film at the time, and it's like. If you're familiar with like all the film union stuff and like how they may have been a massive strike in North America, that's just like, yeah, this would kill me and I would let it, so I'm gonna just do motion graphics. So, but yeah, like it's the greatest thing I've just done. It's so fun to work with, and it's kind of like you don't know what looks you have until you get them. So you've got to just save it, and you can't save any presets. You've got to just write down, okay, this was at 3, this was on all these like.
Yeah.
Nice.
We got much fun with that shit.
We get into that all the time.
Yeah, it's really hard to explain analog stuff to people who don't have this because it's just like you just do that and then that comes out. And it's like, yeah, pretty much that's just how it works.
Well, he uses like 5 or 6 guitar pedals in a row for his keyboard, sitting on top of his keyboard.
If you can't tell, we're like in bands, and we just got sick of that, right? And wanted to try electronic music. So I've been running like just guitar pedals through a Casio.
Nice.
Well, like
That Casio.
yeah, and like yeah, it's the same problem. Like we got all messed up a couple weekends ago and like found this perfect sound and now we've been chasing it for months because who knows what assortment of what knobs made that sound.
Was the wah on?
Yeah, like we've spent entire practices going back to that one recording. Like, what did I have on?
Exactly, because you don't like, get it for 5 minutes on it because you're just never going to get it back.
Yeah.
Take a picture.
Yeah, my advice is never do it too messed up, or else like you're not going to take notes. You're just going to get excited.
Oh man.
How much does one of those run you, Eugene?
Sorry. Oh,
How
that
much
was
does one of those run you?
at that time because like okay, so this particular like the original bass gear that they modified, that's becoming really rare. So when I got it, I think it was like what $777 precisely. But that's also for shipping and stuff. So it was like, okay, cool. But that's to get it because they built to order. But because I got in 2020, so and that was before lockdown, so it's been getting over the past 2 years, everybody's seeing all that work at home. So in their words, it is in waiting order hell, which really sucks because it's a really wonderful piece of gear. But like there's tons of companies out there that are like circuit bend stuff, like Lo-Fi Theater, Mescaline. That's just so it's a wonderful fucking world of all the stuff you can do.
Do you film with CRT TV?
Like, part of me wishes I could, but like, so I have an LCD, it works with whatever. But because the way that like a CRT has the electron gun built in the back, so like whatever you throw at it, it's just going to come up regardless. But an LCD, just like the screen just cuts out occasionally because it can't handle you tearing up the screen. But for whatever reason, like the color button I mentioned at the front, for whatever reason, it takes composite cables, it doesn't do it. But for some reason, so I use my PS3 as like a source image to like generate a video. So it loves Blu-ray. The Dream Weapon loves Blu-ray movies for whatever reason, because that's for some reason how I got all the psychedelic color effects at first. Everything else is just black and white and then textures and shit. And you gotta, it's the wormhole of figuring out, okay, what's my source image? What converters am I using? What kind of discs? So open a YouTube app. Am I using a CRT or an LCD? Or like, it's you realize how expensive it gets when you get one. It's like, oh, shit, I have to do all this crap.
It's a rabbit hole.
I love it so much, though.
I feel like that will eventually become hopefully not, but eventually become a lost art. There's something kind of funny about, I guess, analog glitch art. That's where it first started from, right? Just things malfunctioning and producing things that you might not always want or expect.
Oh man!
And nowadays there's so many ways to, I guess, manufacture that kind of error through like refined digital processes. I guess it's totally different from how it first started.
But well, because you're right. It was always based in error, which was always pretty interesting in just how you explain it. Like I saw this really cool quote. I'm really annoyed I forgot you said it, but like the cracking of a voice is just like the glitch in someone who's just screaming a note so loud that the body can't even contain it, or like a tape breaking or something like that. So like it's really cool to find those things. But I think I know as far as analog goes, it's just like the versatility of doing all this stuff and getting it. as opposed to because it's still VFX at the end of the day. So if you're using digital VFX, it's a case of plugins and having to render stuff out and how much time that takes. It's just harder to get stuff on the fly because it's just a nightmare to process everything. And plus, those tools are so much easier to distribute amongst everyone because it's software as opposed to having the hardware and figuring out how to get that stuff in. So yeah, I do wish more people could do this because it is just brilliant. I don't want to gatekeep anything. I don't think anyone should. But yeah, it's just a case of what people have available to them at the end of the day, and can you do circuit bending or not? I guess.
So, what kind of things are you working on right now?
Working with this band, luckily enough. Another one I've loved for years. I can't say who they are yet, but because they're also based in LA, funnily enough. But music videos and lyric videos will also do figuring out merch and typography and stuff. And they're not sure, and it's because I've worked in with different musicians and stuff for a while. But as far as being able to do, so for example, a music video we just shot because I directed it remotely. As far as saying, here's the concept, here's a treatment. Go shoot in a white infinity cove, make sure there's one light the entire time, just play instruments, and you guys are good, and I'll glitch it all out. And it just works wonderfully, and they like that look for a lot of their rollouts, so we're getting to do that. But it's a lot of just experience figuring how far I can push the Dream Weapon or how well I can do it for other people, and then figure out how to get into other, as far as other industries and stuff. Because I'm comfortable in music and I know how to network with people in there, and I can learn as much as I can about how their business works. Because if I'm not doing that, what the fuck am I doing at the end of the day?
That actually rolls into my next question: is what sort of things you want to do in the future? Whether it's more projects that you haven't done already, or different industries, different technologies or techniques. I'm kind of curious about that.
Man, I think motion graphics is fascinating because I have some design training as far as learning typography and stuff. Event identity, that's really interesting. As far as being the people who do motion graphics and branding events and just seeing how I can get it and figure out but also a lot of that is just figuring out how to market different things, and if I don't know how to do that, but also just it's really hard to say because this is via as far as I want to do. Whatever I can throw this at has good working hours and will pay well, as opposed to just throwing myself in everything. As far as people want to get to feature films, but the working hour structure of that, especially in VFX, traditionally just is not you go to the dial, just weigh you out. So I'm just trying to make things work as far as I can, as far as just be comfortable with it and not get myself front loaded with too many things. Plus, this is such a fun playground to work with at the end of the day, as far as the work I want to produce. So yeah, it gives me a lot of freedom to do the best things I want to be able to do. If that doesn't necessarily help answering your question, but it's kind of close.
No, I think that's a great answer. I want to try to keep this, this podcast confined within certain segments. So right now we're just about to roll into our next segment here. But I want to ask you, where can people find you online, and if they want to contact you, how can they do that?
So my handle on Behance, Instagram, and Twitter will be ET Visuals. That's ETVISAULS. Wow, I forgot to spell it for a second. Oh my god! And then my email. My portfolio is www.etvisuals.co.uk, and my professional work email would be Eugene EUGENE at etvisuals.co.uk. Simple. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right. Well, thanks, Eugene. Don't go anywhere yet because I want to start interviewing you guys next from the Cavernous. And then after that, we're going to play your music video. So I'm excited to see that too. So, yeah. What's up, guys? So tell me more about where you guys are from and what you guys are doing right now. How'd you first meet as a band? How'd you get together?
He was in a band with my old roommates. He was the drummer of that band.
Second drummer. I met these guys at a jam night at a bar downtown. I had just moved to town and needed to meet people in the music scene, so I just kept going to jam night every week. And eventually Dan and Max came and said, "Hey, we just lost our drummer. You want to play drums for us?" Hell yeah! Meet some guys in town, and I basically met almost everybody I knew in town, through jam night there.
The first time I met him, he was loading a bong on the back porch of the house. So it's like, oh, hi. It's like, hey, I'm the drummer of the band. Like, oh, cool.
Well, that's how you knew he was already cool.
I wasn't the hugest fan of their band either, but we kept on hanging out, and he was a big fan.
So good, neither was I.
We kept on hanging out, and he was a big fan of one of my bands, and we did that Spotify road trip thing when you joined me on this one.
Like,
gig.
you don't know Tortoise?
Yeah.
Check out Tortoise!
Yeah,
Holy
he's like,
shit!
yeah, we were just back and forth. Like, this guy knows really cool music, and it was like, okay. And then, I was just going through I guess we were probably both going through a bit of a shift, and I just finished up with a band that I really cared about, and I wanted to get out of the the band life thing, mainly like guitar rock. Yeah, I've played every instrument under the sun in a band, but I really wanted to avoid the guitar ego thing, because like every band I've been in, it's some guitar player dictating to the rest of the band what you do. And I'd always been afraid of electronic music. Not afraid, but it just it never clicked with me. Like, I'd go to a rave and be all messed up and be like, oh, this is
not afraid, but unapproachable.
Yeah.
It's difficult to approach.
Well, I'd go to a rave or something and I'd be like, this is amazing. This is all I'm ever going to listen to. And then you'd listen to it the next day and you'd be like, this doesn't sound right anymore. Right?
Yeah.
And
it was the Jaeger.
Or the ecstasy or whatever we were on.
Yeah, I guess it depends on your state of mind when you're at the rave.
But I always wanted to get over that, and I was taking some classes, just upgrading, and there's a few electronic albums that I kept on coming back to, and I was like, okay, I like Aphex Twin, Boards of Canada. I really like this band. They're mainly electronic now. They're called 65 Days of Static. I kept on listening to them. And I was just like, yeah, I really want to approach music in a different way. Oh, DJ Shadow. I'd never when I listened to some interviews with him on how he approaches, Eugene, when you're talking about filming stuff and then just being able to deconstructing it and finding something new in it. I love that philosophy in digital or in electronically produced music, especially with samples. We don't use it much now, but just it's kind of like alchemy, like you can turn like just a single pitch into anything you want. Like you can turn it into a beat. You can it seems like such an endless. There's just so much you could do with it. So I didn't even really realize how much I lucked out with doing this with Jesse, because he's like an electronic wizard. Like he can.
I'm a circuit bender.
Yeah. What's your degree again?
Robotics and automation.
Yeah. So he builds robots apparently. I don't know.
Oh, awesome.
That's what I assumed. Anyways, but no, he brought this crazy thing out for our album that was like this weird radio emitter thing that we were
spectrum analyzer, yeah.
Yeah, he brought out a spectrum analyzer and we were turning knobs on that to make weird static noises and stuff. But yeah, no, it just so it's been a really fun. What was the question again?
I don't know. I was just entranced by your answer.
How did we approach electronic music or something?
Yeah, that's how we met. Is we both like cool bands, and I realized we'd make a good group. And I actually wanted more people involved, but as soon as I was like, "Yeah, we're gonna play electronic music," no one got back to me.
Oh, really? That's a surprise.
Yeah.
And then after jamming together for 6 months or something, we're like, what do you want to try? Bring this guy in on drums, or this guy try this or something. It's like, no. I don't know. We kind of fit pretty good as just a core duo, and bring other egos into it.
And really, our third member is the robot or the electronics of it all, right?
The looper.
Yeah. Or the sequencer or the whatever's
happening on that track, yeah.
I feel like I really want you guys to have an actual robot that goes around with you now.
We would love that.
I mean,
Well, I'll build one, I
it
guess.
seems like you can build one.
It's just gonna be an arm that goes and presses play on a track or something.
That's interesting, though. I don't often see electronic groups with more than 2 people. I guess.
No, yeah. Well, I think we're approaching it in a band sensibility. Like he plays electronic drums, and like I'm always playing synthesizers. Like that's what we know is actual instrumentation. And I'm trying to learn more about like all this, like being able to like sequence and sample. And what was interesting about like what you're asking Eugene earlier is like, you know, how you're saying like this stuff is going to become a dead art. It's interesting, like there's this thing in electronic music right now. It's like somebody just pressing play on a laptop, and that's their set.
And then filter knobs.
Yeah, and everybody gets but everyone gets upset about this philosophy. But I mean, human evolution has been this movement towards making things more and more easy on yourself, right? And so, like, why would you disparage somebody that found the easiest way to do it, right? And still be an entertainer or whatever. But it's funny, like some people look at us like we're like saving some sort of craft that I don't even think existed, you know? And I just don't know where the line is.
Yeah, we're not doing it the way that other people did it.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. But no, like it's you know, like when you're saying like, oh, it's going to be this dying medium, or like it'll be like, you know, you'll see it less. It's like I don't know what people consider like where the line of cheating will be, right? Like when you produce something the way you do it versus somebody who just like, you know, builds a program that can make any image do what you're doing digitally. Like I don't
some AI or whatever.
Yeah, and I don't really know the answer. I feel like it's I enjoy what I do, but I definitely don't want to like I get sick of hearing people say like, oh, these DJs just press and play. Like it's cool, man. Like do your thing. Like
yeah, but did they sequence it and write it and put it all together? Like
well, you know, I wonder. That's a good point. I wonder whether some people, like even further back, would have said the same thing about using synthesizers at all.
Exactly.
Like, hey, man, you're not playing an actual instrument. You know, that's
or just like recorded music. That was a huge thing for musicians at the turn of the century. Was like we're gonna all lose our jobs, and they were wrong. Like no, you know what I mean? Like now there's DJs show up instead of like I was talking to somebody about touring, and like back in the day when you wanted like a big dance, like danceable sound, you got like an 18 band string band, you know, like a
Chicago.
yeah. Even before that, like, you know, jazz or whatever.
A big band,
you'd have a big band, right? And then like technology got better, and we got like amplifiers, and all of a sudden 4 dudes could be that loud, and like rock and roll's born. And now we get the same thing. It's just like open up the laptop, press play, and it's still, you know, it's taking over the world. And I don't think any one of those steps diminishes the other artistically, but at the same token, like
it's the instrument virtuosos who are heard about putting the time in or something. I don't know. Is
it cheating to, you know? Oh, you should be taking 18 dudes on the road when you go on tour. You know what I mean? Like, what is that, right? People are making it easier for themselves, but you know, but there is something about that aesthetic, and that's what I wanted to get back to about what you brought up with Eugene. Is like there will be these artists who hold these pillars, right? And they're like, no, like there's something in this, and they'll recreate it and recontextualize it, and you know, and I mean that's why I really like that. Have you guys ever heard of the movie Mandy?
Yes.
That guy talks about using like time periods as aesthetics, almost like you would genres, right? I love that concept, right? Like, and just kind of like looking at your art, if it is say dated like that, you you know, whether it's like you're a big band or you're playing with analog glitchy, you know, effects or whatever. You know, I don't know. There's something, and you can recontextualize it from the culture that you're living in. You know, like whatever you're, you know, like
For whatever time period.
yeah, whatever time period and whatever, like, yeah. So I don't know.
Wow, that's a great response. You know, that made me think of you know, maybe I'm wrong, and maybe it won't be a dying art, because comparing it to music, I'm thinking of like a classical orchestra. Now, obviously, there aren't classical orchestras playing music everywhere all the time, but you can still see a show where there are like 18 guys playing a symphony, and
Or another great
it's not
example.
gone.
No, exactly. Or like there's like the neoclassical guys like Max Richter, I believe his name is, or like there's Olaf Arnolds, where they take the concept and they just, you know, it's the same ideas, but just like, you know, reimagined for the, even like Philip Glass, I think his stuff, it's still considered classical, but it's very different from that, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's okay.
I'm one of those guys who's just like, yeah, but I got a thing too. It was so hard not to talk over Eugene. I'm sorry, guys.
I'm at a loss, because whatever questions I would have asked you provided such great insights. I'm like, what do I ask him now? But you know what? Speaking of music, I think this is a great opportunity to start playing yours. And before we move into that segment, do you have any last things to say? You know, any words for people on where they could find you online? We're not done with the podcast yet. We're just going to play the music for 20 minutes and then get back to the conversation.
Oh, okay. It's not the end of the podcast. Okay.
No. I saw your face, and I'm like,
I do want to say my
we're not
kids
over
running
yet.
away from me on this set.
Oh my god. Now you ruined it.
I ruined it.
It'd be like, oh yeah, okay. So where to find us? I keep on screwing this up with Instagram. Is it Instagram @ and then your thing, or is it your thing @ Instagram?
Well, I think it's like the actual URL is Instagram / something. But if you're referring to just like your name, usually you go
It's
at
and
name, and then that's it.
At the Cavernous?
I keep on screwing it up, but there's literally no other The Cavernous on Instagram. So we got the first one, so it's just Instagram @ the Cavernous, or Cavernous @ the The Cavernous it's at Instagram.
The Cavernous.
At the Instagram. You kids check out your Instagram.
All right, awesome. Well, I'm gonna put your video on. Hopefully, it doesn't glitch out like the last one did.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, let's check it out. And this is a good chance for me to get up and go to the bathroom too. So
Perfect.
we'll play this for 20 minutes and then get back to the conversation. And after this, we'll start talking about whether we live in the Matrix. So stay tuned. All right, that was great.
That was really good.
Sorry about the
Cheers.
all the glitches that happened.
I think it's fitting with all the stuff we've talked about.
I mean, that's the theme of the show, so you can't avoid it.
What was I? Oh, I was. Oh, what? Never mind. I'll ask you later. Sorry.
Ask it now, please.
What the hell time is it there, Eugene?
Oh, right. So now it's like, it's 3. It's 3.
Oh, fuck, dude. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Like, seriously, like, I have to, like, get used to time zones and work with people remotely anyway, so, like, my sleeping schedule's pretty fucked as it is.
That's this guy's whole operation.
Yeah, it's fine. Like, I've, like, got the workstation. I'm always, like, 5 steps from, like, where I work anyway, so it's like, yeah. Okay, as long as I have 8 hours to work on stuff, it's fine.
Nice.
Yeah.
Man, that freaks me out. I work very hard to not bring my work home, so
No, yeah, I get it.
work is literally home. I must like get like a Black Mirror episode in there and
Hard to get away.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's the weird thing I volunteered for. Because, like, when I was studying film before, like, lockdown happened, it was the thing of, I mean, obviously getting this because I wanted to work remotely, but my commute was already, like, 1.5 hours there, right? So
Yeah.
then it's, you have to pick if you want a social life or if you want to dedicate stuff to your career, and this is where you're already doing film stuff, which is already really time intensive. So I'm like, I'm going to look for an out because this is not looking, it's going to get any better, like, as an industry. So, you know,
Right.
luckily I've had options, so I took them, so it's fine.
So you're okay with it?
Yeah, genuinely, like, dude, yeah, this is great. So I'm not gonna lie. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, of
Anyways,
course I get it though. I do.
Sorry, I feel like I'm babbling, or like commandeering the Doug. Please get me out of this.
It's all good. I like it because I like when like two different guests get a chance to talk to each other. I just want to fade in the background. But I'm still gonna ask my questions to kind of move it along. So, you guys made that for this show, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That is really cool. Thank you for that.
Yeah, you
I really
bet.
appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So what? Before we ask the big question, what was your inspiration for that particular set? Like, other than
It was just like we gave you 4, but we only broadcasted 3 there. The inspiration was just like our 4 best sounding songs, the ones that have been going over well live, and just trying to figure out the glitch of streaming stuff, and like also us just figuring out how to film ourselves and record ourselves and blend them into one. Like, if you notice, there was that effect.
Yeah,
and I
really
like
2 videos layered.
Yeah, it's just 2 videos layered because I went through and I was cutting it up, and like I just do it on my phone because I'm an idiot. But if you saw it, it had like the little watermark of like
The KineMaster.
Yeah. Something I did at work in between, like, you know, actual work. Yeah, so I mean, we just one of the reasons I wanted to do this was just so we could like see if we could do that, right? Like for the next pandemic or whatever the hell.
you know, there's gonna be another.
Next time we're hiding in the basement.
Yeah.
I'm not you guys yet because we're getting to here now.
What's that?
Has monkeypox hit you guys yet? Because
no.
I keep hearing about
I think there was 2 cases in Ontario.
Quebec. That's a continent over.
No, yeah, it's not that bad. Like, it's like this because there's already vaccines for it, so people are going to freak out and things like, we just, the solutions already currently exist, it's fine. Like, really.
Yeah, I can't. We could do a whole other podcast on the whole situation.
Yeah, we definitely could.
The answer is yes, we are living in the Matrix.
Okay, all right. Well, but the question goes deeper because what kind?
I feel like you stole his thunder right there. Like he was probably going to pull up something, and you're just like.
I had no segue plan, so you made my job a little easier.
Okay. Total truth here, Doug. I looked you up a bit, but you can't really tell through social media and that kind of stuff. And I was like, is this guy like gonna get weird about it and be like, no, dude. And is this like some like you're officiating us, like you're like. Maybe you think you're like our Morpheus, and you're like, well, you take the red pill. Like, at the end of the thing, we'll be like, choose, and be like, dude. But no, I did think.
But you joined anyway.
What's that?
You didn't know, but you joined anyway. So
yeah.
What is that?
That's the thing is that would be way more interesting than just sitting at home watching Netflix or some crap, right? So I had to find out. But I don't know. I thought about this a lot, so I got a big nonsensical answer, but I feel like I should let everyone else kind of.
Well, why don't we start with Eugene because we just played your music. So, what would you say? What do you think we're living in a kind of matrix, whether it's social, technological, or like cosmological? What's your thoughts about that?
So I have to point out that you've specifically used the word matrix. So the thing about that one, even then, it's like. Okay, simulation theory is like a thing it's interesting to discuss and stuff, but only exists as theory, right? But there's no consequences for it. So, because if we were to say Matrix, is like, I don't really want to be, because like the only benefit to being pulled out of the Matrix as it exists in the film is like, because if I'm not Techno Jesus, then I gotta go, I have to wait for the second film. Out of nowhere. I was like, well, was this worth dying and finding out a battery just to go to like this to see Juno reactor play? Because like they're great and everything, but like, come on, guys, like what the fuck? This wasn't worth it.
That's a good point.
Totally,
better for you.
They gotta live in hiding.
I feel like that was a total missed watermark in that like Animatrix. Is like because I don't know how could you not like, and also like I feel like if the Matrix came out today, like the old movie. I feel like or maybe it would be like a TV show because that's usually how something like that would play.
Yeah.
I feel like what was the bald guy that was like, I bet you wish you didn't take the
the guy.
I feel like if there was like a longer show now, they would like explode because like modern media is all about this like moral androgyny or whatever.
They would go into cypher psyche.
Yeah, and you'd start to understand why. And also like most of us, like you said, like when you go back to that movie, you're like, I kind of get why he's just like, fuck right.
Hey, eat the same goop every day? Friggin', I want the steak.
Actually, that like goes right into like what I was gonna say about the whole thing is like, like it's the same thing with like conspiracy theorists and stuff. It's like, okay, so say you're right. Say you're right that like the world is run by this, this what's that word? Like
the cabal.
Cabal, whatever that means.
Oh yeah.
Now what? It's like figuring out that you're a cow going into the meat grinder. It's like, why would you want to know, right? Like, and like, say you're a sentient cow and you are Techno Jesus, and you're like, hey, other cows, like we're gonna be thrown in the meat grinder, and they're just like, you know what I mean? Like, or say you're like so awesome that you awaken the other cows. And they're like, yeah, we got to do something about this. And say you even like it turns into an animal farm thing and they take the guy down like the farmer that's going to meat grind them. There's another farmer.
There's another farmer.
You know, and there's like an army that's like, there's these sentient cows that are taking out farmers, and they're just gonna like drop bombs on you. Like, there's always a bigger fishbowl, and it's just like, at the end of the day, like, you really just like, the only thing you can really kind of overcome, I think, is yourself, or that's what I've experienced through through the artistry, or through like relationships, or through like just being like and like human relationships. That's the only way that I feel like you ever really free yourself, is just through experiencing yourself. Experiencing yourself. And I think that's like, if you go the opposite direction, instead of like, oh, what's out there, like what's in there, you know, like, and that's what I feed off of, is like, most of my biggest problems are me, to be honest, you know.
Yeah, it's easy. It's like, you know, that do you watch Rick and Morty?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Did you see the episode where they do the purge, and then at the very end they're like, okay, we've sorted it all out, okay, let's make a government. But then that's like a really cynical take about it. It's like, okay, out, and then go back to putting other people.
What if one day here we are?
Yeah.
That's like, come on, man, that's shit. But like, yeah, that's basically so no, basically, as far as like, no, I don't think we're in the Matrix. But like, yeah, simulation theory gets interesting for me when it's like, well, if we had the technology to simulate sentient beings, we would do it just because we could, because that would be interesting. So, but that's kind of just my extent of like how I feel about it. The rest is just political systems and hierarchies and things that stretch back for millennia. So
we're all just the universe dreaming we're different critters.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, whether that's an analog or some sort of weird digital, it's just true, right? Like, we're just playing our like little lives out, and that's really all you can do. That's all that you like. You can't even officially say that free will is real, you know, right? Like, there's that whole argument, right? So even my thing about like, oh, just figure yourself out, like, who knows? Who knows I even have the ability, or any of us have the ability, to actually witness ourselves. Like, that's like that discussion of enlightenment. And that's what I liked about
self-actualization.
Yeah, that's one thing I enjoyed about the later Matrix movie. I still haven't seen the newest one, but oh shit, I love
to see it.
You don't need to.
No, but it's gone.
Oh, duh. It happens.
The computer was just like, you don't need to talk about it.
Quick, grab it.
That'd be sick. But yeah.
Well,
So-
you know, some people think the Matrix is a useful analogy for this whole concept of like being in some sort of simulation, because everyone's heard of the Matrix, even if they might not know about simulation theory. But I feel like the Matrix also has a very negative connotation, because they're trapped inside of this, you know, this structure that's made by these evil machines out to get humanity. I kind of wonder whether, well, what if we are in a simulation, but it's not a bad thing? Like,
get humanity, harvest humanity, semantics.
but like, my thought about a simulation theory these days is that people use video games as an analogy to say that video games are getting more and more realistic every year. So, you know, it stands to reason that maybe someday we could create a video game or a simulation that's so realistic we couldn't tell the difference. But the thing that we're talking about here is a video game, which we go into to enjoy the experience of.
Yeah.
So even if we are in a simulation, I would think that it's a good thing, and we're here to enjoy whatever it is we're doing.
That's awesome. That takes away that fear for me that you're like some weird cult leader that's going to be like, you know, kind of like, wake up, sheeple, you know. That's a refreshing take, Doug. I like that.
Yeah, it's pretty optimistic.
Good. I mean, there's different ways to think about it, you know. And the Matrix is also still a good metaphor for things that do exist in the real world, like being surrounded by increasingly pervasive levels of technology. For one, I think you could say that we live in that kind of matrix. You wouldn't be wrong about that.
Yeah, surveillance was an interesting point. I mean, also to just watch Taken yesterday, and it's like this really aged interestingly in terms of how much surveillance is needed to save one person. So people die, but like, yeah, no, that's very interesting point about like right now here. I mean, it's once again, it's more about being in prison within systems that over here they're not necessarily so benevolent, but right here, like a member of parliament has put forward this bill that makes it so people can't protest loudly; they have to protest quietly.
Yeah,
decibel level.
Like, I guess, like, there's got to be
how do you
some kind of
measure that?
Threshold.
yeah, right. They got the legal threshold. They got to get the broom mic up and to see when people turn up. But like, yeah,
It's crazy.
Well, no, just recently in Canada, I mean, there was like they were shutting down people honking their horns, right? Like that was a big protest movement in January over the COVID restrictions or whatever, and yeah, they're saying like that. It sounded crazy though, like people weren't sleeping and stuff. But yeah, that's interesting. Like how else are you going to protest if not? You have to be disruptive if you're going to protest. That's the point.
Yeah, it's just kind of the larger thing of trying to, like, you know, obviously as far as government goes, you can't ever put in any kind of rule that's going to apply like unilaterally, but some shit is just like, come on, guys, you're just trying to.
Well, they can't directly say no protesting, guys.
Yeah, it's a PG version.
Yeah, I don't know. And then you just throw in draconian laws or whatever. But yeah.
It's never up there. It's great. But actually, okay.
Well, we're pretty much out of time, I guess. There's no real time limit, but I was hoping to wrap these up around an hour. I feel like we could keep going, but this is as good as a time as any.
Thank you so much, Doug. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, this is great. This is really cool, man.
Yeah, thanks for coming out. And you guys all reached out to me separately, so that's really cool to see. It's just putting something out there into the void and then getting a response back from random people around the world. That's like when I couldn't have done this maybe 5 years ago, but 10, 20 years ago, it's kind of unheard of.
Yeah, it's been weird with us. This is the first band I've been in where I feel like we get more attention online than like in the real world. Like in the real world, like we eat shit all the time, but like as a band, like people just don't get it. But
I mean, we're playing bars,
yeah.
So
that makes sense.
But like no, it's been
play Freebird.
Yeah. And also like this is a culture out here, right? It's very like our biggest city center is Vancouver, and it's like kind of a weird city. And either way, but no, it's been cool. Like just the same thing for us. We've been really like reaching out to people, and like we got on a compilation for the Ukraine thing, and like yeah, it's been one of those experiences where it's like this kind of stuff really seems to be working well for us. The more the online presence and the streaming and it goes along with the vibe. So yeah, it's cool.
Plus, it's the difference between just tweeting and like getting a thread out there and just getting your words out there, as opposed to just actually talking to other people, and even just being in a format like this that gets the thoughts out there. Because archiving is just great, so it's going to just get stuff out there so it can be preserved.
Yeah, exactly. It's already saved for anyone who ever wants to. If anyone wants to listen to this, they can.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's such an oddball situation. Just like guy from the UK, guy from the States, a bunch of Western Canadian dorks, like. Just like, yeah, so cool, so random. It's nice. Thanks for setting this up, Doug.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, and thanks again for being a part of it. Before you go, can each of you just let everyone know where they can find you, what your names are, all that stuff?
You want to go first?
No, you guys go.
Okay. One thing I did want to plug is we're dropping a split. And June 17th, we're calling it the
Siamese Spine.
Yeah, Siamese Spine split. It's with our buddy Murphy Lazard is his stage name. He does kind of like I would say like noisy ambient guitar stuff.
Yeah.
On side A, and it's got kind of like a Sonic Youth, My Bloody Valentine kind of thing going on. And then this is the most, the songs that we're releasing on this are the most like kind of industrial we've ever got. And we're going to drop a music video with it. So
these are a couple tracks that we just wrote in studio. Don't replicate live as of yet. You know, just adding layers into Cakewalk or whatever.
Yeah, so we're really pumped about it, and we hope everyone checks it out. And yeah, you can check us out on Instagram. Our YouTube is pretty cool too. I think we're the only YouTube Cavernous out there. There's no official or anything.
The Cavernous.
The Cavernous, that's right. And yeah, I think that's it. That's all we need to plug. Unless you want to come out here for a show, we got lots of those coming on.
How many songs are you doing on the split? Is it like a physical and then it's like A and B side?
It's 2 and 2, so yeah, 4.
Okay, cool. Right, fair enough. Right.
Just a little EP. Split EP.
It's good to be able to get those out, just to like not have so much pressure to like spend a year building up this thing. That's pretty good.
Yeah, well, you know, we play a bunch of shows and we bring CDs and T-shirts around with us. So
yeah, and that's I got this whole thing about like the LP is. I don't think that it needs to die, but I've been in so many bands that's the tombstone. That's where it dies. Is like because
the death knell for a band.
Yeah, it's like I've been in bands where we don't even finish the LP that we meant to put out. It's such burnout for people who are also like maybe in families or have other jobs. It's a big undertaking. So I've been really adamant about like, okay, let's do a single here, a little thing here. Like not being like too aggressive with that, and also just trying to figure out what we sound like on a record, right? Because like I said, I was like before we even started this, like I don't think like our Bandcamp songs really even sound.
Well, yeah, and how much do you want to copy the live sound, or how much do you want to go outside the box or whatever?
Yeah, and layer stuff and blah blah blah, right? So, anyways, I feel like I'm bogarting it again.
Well, you know what? I'll add to that by saying I think it's cool that you guys are, releasing things that trickle at a time, because that sounds like it's better for you. And I think in like these days when you're trying to play that social media game, people don't mind just one new piece of content here and there, and eventually that all adds up. So.
Well, it seems like bands nowadays are releasing their LPs. Like you'll get, like back in the day, it used to be like a single maybe, and then you drop your LP. Yeah. Nowadays, it's like you'll get 4 songs off of the LP before you get, you'll get basically half the album before it drops, and they're just trying to build up a relationship with that album, right?
Singles are teasing.
And I don't necessarily like it as a listener, but I get it as a producer of music.
No.
Yeah, for sure.
It all kind of changed things a lot to the point where, like, as listeners, we picked convenience over everything else in like the mid-noughties, and that's what it's like. Okay, so we just kind of keep up with that, and I guess it's in the long run, it's not that it's going to be better, but at least people get more hit to the idea that you are kind of boutique building for an audience that likes your stuff and your offering, as opposed to necessarily having to like run to get a deal or something just to like exist in their minds.
You know what I've been thinking about lots nowadays is I think music is shifting into the same space that movies kind of always have existed in, whereas like most people, unless you like worship a movie, you might like back in the day you'd rent a movie, right? And you just watch that once or twice while you had it, and then you take it back to the store, and maybe you had a great experience with it, but you wouldn't rent it again and again and again.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's people's relationship with music these days is like
I'm gonna cut in right there and say, just as a quick aside, go watch Mandy.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah, for sure. But yeah, I think I'm babbling, aren't I? Sorry. But yeah, I think people's relationships to like albums and bands and stuff are going to be a little more like, oh, cool. Instead of like the old days where you like bought a thing and you're like, I have bought a piece of this industry and like I'm going to commit to it because I spent the $20. And I kind of like it better as a consumer, not to like have to feel this like fandom to something. And like as a creator, it's like I feel way less pressure because like, you put out a thing and no one listens to it, and it's like, well, cool. Like we're just gonna do another thing.
Let's do the next thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
whatever.
Fucking fish in the barrel, right? Like
That's weird.
Yeah, we liked it when we made it, but let's move it on.
Yeah, someone else likes it, they like it.
Man, you've got to do more podcasts with other people because I feel like you can just keep rolling. And,
sorry, yeah,
I wanted to close the conversation, but now I wanted to talk more about music and like the impact
It's
of
up to you, Dan.
technology.
You have a decision to make right now. It's up to you.
Well, you know what? I'll ask you one more question, and then I want
Here
to
you go.
move on to Eugene and let him, give his info. But do you think that change that you just talked about is having an impact on music subcultures? Because, like you said, people used to identify their whole, everything about themselves in their lives with, if not one band, maybe one subculture of music, and maybe
The metal heads or the punk kids or whatever.
Right, and that intertwined with fashion tremendously. But now it seems like we're all just taking a sampler platter of everything that we've liked throughout history, and just going with whatever we're into at the moment. So,
Bit more mixed bag.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag of all these different things. So, what is your thought on I guess subcultures or music identities as a result of that?
so obviously I personally live for the whole like mixed bag thing because like I've been in folk bands, I've been in heavy metal bands, this is my electronic thing, like I've tried on every hat, right? And just because I'm too like I don't know, I could get into the whole like dichotomy of different ways that you could look at art. But the interesting thing is like it's where the rubber hits the road. So what I've been trying to do when I'm booking us is, because there's no one out here, like our music doesn't fit in with the like doots, doots, doots kind of EDM, right? So we can't just play.
It doesn't have the
we can't play with other DJs and stuff because that's the other thing is at those festivals. It's just like you move another controller and it takes like 5 minutes to set up the next DJ. Whereas like we have a wall of gear, right? So we're and also like just the dynamics of what we're doing. It doesn't have those peaks and valleys of classical EDM, right? So
but it's got a flow.
Yeah, it's more like a post rock kind of thing. Right?
Yeah.
Like ambient or whatever. So what I've been trying to do is like and we also play a lot of small towns. And so like we'll play with anybody. We've played with like singer-songwriter openers and like a death metal headliner, and it doesn't matter to us.
Or clarinet and poetry.
Yeah, we played that a couple weeks ago. But the problem is like, and my philosophy was behind that. It was what you were saying, Doug, is like everyone likes a little bit of everything now. Unfortunately, when you do that live, it's been clearing rooms. Like everybody that swears that they like everything will leave for what they don't want to see. So there's like a little bit of this disconnect because yes, on our Spotify playlists, it is those epics like, oh, I'm listening to death metal and now funk and now electronica and now hip hop, but people really don't seem to gravitate to that in the live world that we're living in.
I can kind of understand that. It might not be that people don't like it, but that when people go to have an experience at a show, they're there to sink into something continuous. So I can imagine if you hear like clarinet and poetry and then your guys' music, which I think is great, and then you have like death metal right afterwards, that's too many different feelings to digest all at once.
Or maybe if you're curating the experience a little.
Yeah, and it could be the timing. Whereas, like with your Spotify playlist, it's like, okay, I'll be out of this in 2 minutes. But like if you bought the ticket to see your friend's death metal band and you got to sit through clarinet and like poetry, it's like, okay, I can do this for one song.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing a set of this, and like. Yeah. But it's been an uphill battle for us because we just really don't have a home live currently. There's just no place where it makes sense, and it's been really difficult the last year.
But you know what? I think that your music does work great online, and personally, your type of music is something I love listening to. on my phone, with headphones,
Yeah.
on my own when I'm making artwork or writing something. It's that kind of music that I really want. So there is definitely value for what you guys do.
Yeah.
I think you really dig the Christmas album. It's only available at Christmas.
Wait, so you can only buy
I
that
gotta
24
wait another
hours?
6 months then.
Yeah, we have a Christmas song.
We have a Christmas album we only release on YouTube and Bandcamp during the month of December.
Nice. Oh,
And
Right.
it's not actually Christmas music.
I was ready for anything.
But it is Christmas music.
The song titles are Jingle Bells and Silent Night and that kind of shit.
But they sound nothing like Christmas music.
I feel like I shouldn't have told you because that's kind of
Now I'm going in with a certain expectation. I'm gonna be mad if I don't hear some Christmas music.
Yeah, I was excited. I'm not gonna lie. This is pretty cool too.
no. We did troll some of our family with it though. Like,
Christmas album. It's like
Jesse made a Christmas album and like threw it on it, and it's just like it's basically like old school Tangerine Dream where it's just like.
I love it. That's amazing. Okay.
Oh man. All right. I gotta make an executive decision here.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
But it's been great. I'm really glad you guys came on.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Thanks.
So that was Jesse and Rob from the Cavernous. Eugene, you want to say a few more things before we head out? Just let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, just like ET Visuals at Instagram, ETVISUALS. I completely forgot how to spell it again. Yeah, etvisuals.co.uk is my website. You'll find an email tab there. Yeah, pretty simple. That's where to find me. I'm pretty good at that.
Awesome.
All right.
Well, that was Jesse and Rob from the Cavernous. This is Eugene from just art and Eugene, aka ET Visuals. And I'm Doug Rizzio. Are we living in the Matrix? Is the universe nothing? Is the universe just one big simulation? And what if everything we thought we knew was nothing more than virtual reality? Ponder the answers to these questions and more next time on Glitch in the Matrix. Bye.